This is interesting. I'm live. Wow, they've changed a few things. I mean, it's not like, extremely different. I accidentally clicked something. But yeah, wow, they kind of sort of changed up the game a little bit. All right, YouTube, I see you. I see you, YouTube. I see YouTube. Um, I actually was not gonna come live. What a way to start a live, right? Um, and I kind of felt like something pulling me like to the cards earlier. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I didn't have anything planned, and I honestly just didn't feel like doing it. So let me see, make sure I'm in here. Hey, Clarinda. So how are you doing today? I feel like I was gonna ask you something, but I don't remember what it was. No, I didn't get a haircut. I just found my hair thing. It was missing for a few days. And I was looking for a cord earlier today. And I thought it was in my book bag. So I looked in my book bag and I looked in this very specific pocket and it was not there. And so I was looking all over for it. So I ended up like cleaning my room a little bit so I could find it, clean my room. And then I go back into my book bag because I couldn't find it. And it was in the first place I checked. And it was just there. So I was like, I guess I needed to clean my room a little bit today. And I found it. So I was wearing it for a lot of today. And my hair is like actually kind of decently soft. But no, it's like, it's all there. It's all still there. But yeah, I was like, I don't really feel like going live. And then I pulled out these cards. The Wild Unknown. Ooh, 10 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. I like that. Murphy's Law, right? And then I grabbed these cards and I pulled a few cards. Then I was like, I feel like telling a story because these are my story cards. And then, ooh, High Priestess in reverse and 10 of Pentacles. Let's turn her upright. Or did I just put her back in reverse? Did I just put this in reverse? I don't know. And so then I was like, yeah, like I could upload a story. And then I was like, I don't feel like recording it. So 4 of Swords in reverse and the 2 of Wands upright at the cut. I'm gonna get a few more cuts and shuffles before I begin. And I was like, I could do an unlisted live because I didn't feel like recording it and uploading it. And I was like, I'll just go live. Why not? Sweet Italian. Ooh, you baked today. I know you wanted to get in there and get up to something good. So, what did I do today? I feel like I did a whole lot of nothing. I took care of some 3 of Wands in reverse, 7 of Swords upright. I took care of some business. I've been actually handling business lately because it's like, why not? And so I've been procrastinating a little bit less, a lot of bit less, actually. I've been moving on some stuff that honestly I could have moved on a long time ago. But today, I washed my bed set. I hooked up my PlayStation today. I haven't touched that thing in months. Also, for some RNG tomorrow. Ooh. So wait. That makes me kind of hungry. Did I eat today? I think I ate today. My mom made, I've been on the fried rice kick. And so my mom kind of sort of jumped on the bandwagon. And so she sent us to the store to get a whole bunch of stuff. Ooh, 9 of Wands and the 6 of Pentacles in reverse. I love the 9 of Wands in this deck. I kind of want to read it because it's like trees in the forest, but the moon is, or it's like a staircase. I want to read it. My life is full of ripped up pages. I've been weak, contagious, but I'm coming back. That song has been in my head. It was like Friday night. And I was like, wait. Lindsay Lohan posted yesterday that this song would be coming out tonight. So I need to listen to it. And I did, and I loved it. But I'm coming back to me. Okay. So the Nine of Wands. And I guess I'll start the story after this because that's what I came on here for, right? Nine of Wands is strength, stamina, and confidence. It says, as nines usually imply, your journey is near completion. But on this final stretch, you find yourself growing weary. Doubt and fear are running through your mind. The Nine of Wands asks you to rally your confidence and realize how far you've come. Lift your eyes and take a few more steps. Soon all your hard work will start to pay off. Okay. Don't like reading this book. Just a few more steps till you're up the mountain. Ooh, with the Son of Wands in reverse under it. And then the Ace of Wands. And then the star in reverse. What's behind the star? Oh, the Hangman. My life is full of ripped up pages. I've been weak, contagious. Looks like a staircase. Exactly. But it never arrived. Did you get a refund? Girl, did you ask for a refund? This was actually my first deck. I got it on Amazon. I got the Wild Unknown Tarot, and I got the Wild Unknown Animal Spirits in November of 2018. I didn't really get into the tarot, though, for real, until 2019. Maybe like Feb or March is when I really started to use it a little bit more. And like, I had the book, and I looked up meanings on Biddy Tarot whenever I would pull cards. And so I would use those to, like, you know, put together a reading. And I was like journaling all my readings at that point anyway, so it wasn't like too not noticeable. What? They said no. How did they say no when you didn't get it? Hello? I don't understand how that works. Ace of Pentacles in reverse and the Four of Cups in reverse. Should I flip these all upright? Ooh, something is saying no, but I want to do it. I'm not going to do it. My life is full of ripped up pages. I've been weak, contagious. Okay, I'm going to cut this. And we're going to begin the story. Oh. I feel like you should be able to complain still. Ooh, we're starting with the Mother of Cups. Ooh, so this ain't going to be no ugly duckling story. Okay. Well, I need... Okay, so there's this Mother of Cups, right? Let's see. There is this swan who is... What's the story about today? I don't know. Should I pull an overall? I'll pull the overall from the bottom because I'm not going to make it that far. That's a good... Ooh, Three of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. I'll pull two more. But I'm going to look at the next two. Actually, I'm going to put them face down. So I put the next two at the bottom face down. So I'm going to do one row with this. The Three of Pentacles in reverse. See where it's going. And then I'll flip the other ones to continue. Yeah, this will be interesting. So we have this Mother of Cups, right? And this was kind of where my brain was going anyway with the story. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but that's why I have these. So we have this super loving and connected, just like graceful, beautiful, glorious creature. There is an element of ethereality to her, right? It's almost like, have you ever been to a place in real life that was so beautiful that it's almost like you were looking at a painting or one of those super fancy desktop backgrounds from like 1990s, right? Old Windows. And you're just like, wow, like this is real life. Like this is God's creation. And you just sit there and admire it for a second. Like this is her. You have. Nice. It's on my list. Actually, I had this weird phase in high school. I had went to the bathroom or something because I remember I was walking upstairs and I was the only person in the staircase. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um, I went to the bathroom in chemistry, AP Chem, like every day after lunch, and the teacher was always like, "Why didn't you go to the bathroom during the lunch period?" And I was like, "Because I didn't have to go." And then one day she was like, I was like, "Hey, I need to go to the bathroom," and she was like, "No, you can't go." I said, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, you should have went at lunch." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'm going to the bathroom because I'm not gonna sit in here and pee on myself. So whether you excuse me or not, I'm going to the bathroom. Hello." And she was like, "Okay, well, at least wait until after this." And I was like, "Okay, that sounds reasonable." Um, Bali. Ooh, yes. Oh wait, I think you've talked about Bali before. Is that when you went on the cruise? Yeah, because I was like, what? That was junior year. So I'm like, what, 16, 17? I'm like, I can't go to the bathroom. Hello? Really? Like, no, I'm going to the bathroom whether you like it or not, because I'm not going to sit in here and pee on myself. Um, why am I telling that story? Because so one day I was walking back up the stairs and I looked out of the window and it was the same thing I had seen like so many different days, right? I mean, it was literally just outside the school, so I saw it like every day. But for some reason, looking at it outside the window, the way the window framed the scene, it was like I was looking at a painting. And then I was just suddenly hit with this deep appreciation for life, for every single brick in the building, for every person there, for every little minor circumstance that led every single blade of grass, every single little piece of asphalt or pavement or whatever to be there. And I was like, wow, like all of these separate things have come together in this moment right now. And it's all here for me to observe and to appreciate. And that, like, I went through this whole, like, at least month long phase of just like appreciating everything and of like not being so stressed and so focused on getting to where I need to go because all of those separate different things were all there. I was like, I wonder if I don't know how they make bricks, but I was like, I wonder if, this rock or that whatever thought that it would have eventually one day been ground into some other things and made into a brick and that brick would become the school and that hundreds, not hundreds, but several years after it was built, I would be here appreciating it right now. And it was like I was the beholder. They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I was the beholder for like a hot second. And I'm just like, wow, that's like, it blows my mind. That's crazy. Yeah. Okay. So you know what I'm talking about. That's her. And like she's the mother of cups. So like she knows what's up. She's very intuitive. She's very connected. She's very pure is the word that came to my mind. So that's where we're starting. So we start out the story with her. I feel like a lot of times I start these, I have a player, which is nice instead of just a setting, right? Oof. Okay. I can see where this is going now. So we have this beautiful Mother of Cups, right? The one who is so connected to like, look at the stars, right? It's like when she closes her eyes, she's one with everything. And she has so much appreciation for everything in her surroundings. And she has such a deep knowledge and awareness that things will come together as they will. But the one thing that she can't quite reconcile is her own beauty. She can see the beauty and the majesty of everything else. But when it comes to seeing herself, like if she looked down into this cup and stared at her reflection in the pool of its waters, she would only see herself as broken, as damaged, as something that will never be appreciated. And it's because of that that she doesn't appreciate herself. And in the lack of her self appreciation, you talking about me? I'm just telling the story. If the story resonate, then it resonate. um, but in the lack of her seeing her own true beauty, there are pieces of her that never knew light and that never knew love. Is this why I'm here? Maybe, Clorinda. Maybe this is why I ended up going live instead of just doing it unlisted and then uploading it after. Because I was like, if I do it unlisted, like I might as well just do it live. I was like, yeah, might as well. But there are these pieces of her that never see light, that never see love, because they're never exposed. And so there are plants in her garden that she can't dig up, but that never grow. And she wonders why, right? Oh, this story might be over because I'm not trying to get this deep. Oh, well, thank you, Corinda. I'm glad I did too. I was like, you know what? I might low key be not like done with YouTube, but I'm just like, I haven't been feeling it. And every time I get like a little push or a little nudge, I'm like, yeah, but like, what would I do? You know? Oh, we got the Daughter of Cups in reverse. Oh my gosh. This goes. I'm not trying to get into childhood. Okay, I'm gonna keep this story as light as I can. Okay, yes. So we get to the parts of her that have never seen light, right? There are these plants in her garden, and she wonders why they don't grow when everything else is so beautiful and abundant and flourishing. Why then don't these snapdragons? I don't know why snapdragons just popped into my mind, but now I want to know what a snapdragon looks like. So give me a moment for anyone who, ooh, it's 111. Look at that. Hold on, wait. Oh, no. Boom. There you go. Anyway, it's 111. Can you see it? Maybe you can see it. Pages. Yeah, see, but I feel like I've been trying to talk myself into it. And so I've been trying to talk myself out of talking myself into it, if that makes sense. It's like, is this something I want to do or am I talking myself into this right now? My life is full of ripped up pages. I've been weak, contagious, but I'm coming back. What? These are snapdragons? Okay. It reminds me of like, oh, wait. Snapdragons, these are on one of the cards. The Three of Cups, maybe? in the Witch's Tarot. They almost remind me of like foxgloves, but they're not purple. Oh well, shoot. There you go. Hold on. My life is full of red. Oh, can you see that? That's a snapdragon. Hold on, let me turn this down. Oh, goodness. Lordy. What if I turn this all the way up? Yeah, that made it. Oh, there you go. There you go. Those are snapdragons. I don't know if you could see them, but there's some yellow and some pinks and some like deep reds and some whites. Yellow and pink used to be my two favorite colors when I was a child because they were the happiest. Oh, how times change. Let me stop. You love them. Okay, nice. All right. So yeah, she's like wondering like why don't these bloom? And she's not doing anything different, right? Like, these plants get the same she thinks. Well, yeah, not she thinks. These plants get the same water that all the other plants get. They get the same access to like sunlight and stuff, right? But she doesn't know why they aren't growing. I think I like where this is going. And it's been this way for a very long time. Like, I mean, y'all have seen the cards, but like, look at this. That's a very tall mountain. These are some very broken cups that look very neglected, right? And then we start with the mother upright. And then we're shown this daughter in reverse. So it's like we're going back in time. What song is that? We're going back in time. I don't know. Oh, then we got this temperance energy. Another bird. I love it. So, which is okay. I need to just talk since she was a daughter. I mean, not since she was a daughter, but just since. I mean, the mother isn't necessarily like a mother. The mother is just like a more mature person, right? And so this is just when she was younger, like a lot younger. Um, but uh, I mean, she's someone's daughter, right? I'm sorry. So she has these plants that, for as long as she can remember, they've never grown. Oh man, I had the story in my head, and this fits the story, and I just lost it. See, oh, okay. I might read a little bit less because it gets me distracted. She has these plants that wouldn't grow. Yes, okay, I got it back. Oh, hold on, wait. Let me make sure I got it back. Okay, so she has these plants that just won't grow, no matter how long she waits, no matter how much time and energy and attention and effort she gives it, and she can't figure out why they won't grow. Right? I feel like she's talked to all of the botanists. Yeah, because I was like plant scientist. She's talked to the botanist. She's talked to the florist. She's talked to everybody. She feels she has the resources to do it, but she's just like stumped, right? And this isn't in reverse. So it's nothing that she's done wrong. It's so many things that she's doing right, but she questions it. She doubts it because if she were doing everything right, then why wouldn't these plants grow and all of the other plants grow, right? Like if the snapdragons are in full bloom, then why don't the foxgloves, come out to play? And what she doesn't know There's something that she doesn't know, and this is the Three of Pentacles. So this Three of Pentacles in reverse. At first, I thought at first I was a little scared because I thought somebody was gonna come in and they was gonna do Mama Swan not right, but it's not that kind of story. Thankfully, this is just the seeds that wouldn't grow. Three of Pentacles in reverse. Three seeds. Oh look, and then there's that mountain. There's that same mountain, but it's in reverse. So what she didn't know was that someone, oh, it sounds a little nasty, but just euphemisms aside, someone had planted seeds in her garden that wasn't her. And the seeds that she had been given, the plants she thought she had been given, there was something that she didn't know about them. Something that she didn't know. Something that she didn't understand. Something that she couldn't have known. Something that no one would have known. And so at the same time, whenever she talked to those botanists and those florists and those herbalists and those just people with the green thumbs and everybody else, excuse me, every time she asked for advice or help or some kind of input on how to get these seeds to grow, she would get lots and lots of answers, but none that ever seemed to work and none that ever seemed to help. And there would be some times when she would see uh, a sprout peek out of the ground, but then it would die before it was fully grown. And she never knew why. She could never understand why. And so she thought something was wrong with her. She thought something was wrong with her soil. She thought something was wrong with the location. She lost a lot of faith in a lot of the people that she sought advice from, because at the end of the day they could only give her advice on the different varieties of plants that were already known, right? If she's going to a botanist or even a florist to a certain degree, right, they can only tell her what someone else has discovered about that plant. And so then that's the end of the first line. That's the end of the first line. I hope I remember where this is going, because by the time it might escape me, honestly. So now we're going to start the second line. We go from the Three of Pentacles in reverse to the Four of Pentacles upright. So that's progress, right? Ooh, we got this Ace of Swords. I love that. So she goes on for a while, right? So now we're coming back to this Mother of Cups, right? We just took a little side detour to the Mother of Cups as a younger mother, as a not yet Mother of Cups. And we sort of like we see how she got here, because she wasn't born with these cups broken and shattered behind this huge mountain, right? On the dark side of the mountain, like that, this happened. And so we find out how this happened. This happened because it seemed like the things that needed to grow within her the most, the things that she gave the most time and attention and energy and effort to, just did not grow. And maybe at some points she looked at other gardens and she said, to herself, why are they so fruitful? Why are they so abundant? Why then am I not? And it's like, I am fruitful and abundant, but not in the ways that I want to be. because there's still this patch where things just won't grow. And no matter how much time passes, no matter how much I care for it, no matter how much I tend to it, no matter how much I do this, I just can't get an answer. I can't get these to grow. I can't, like, no progress has been made. Right. And then again, with the hermit in reverse, she goes inside, but instead of finding what she needs to find, this is interesting because I've never seen this like this before. But on this moon card, you see the crescent moon. On this hermit card, I'm almost seeing this as like a full moon. This is a full moon behind it. But instead of the hermit using moonlight, the hermit is instead using this candle with its back turned away from the full moon. And so when the hermit went inside, it when this mother, or when she was a daughter, because right, with the temperance card, this is years and years and years in the making. Um, but every time she went inside, it's like every time she went inside, instead of finding what she was looking for, she would just end up beating up one of these cups. And so over the many, many, many years of her just thinking that something was wrong with her, she just tore up all of these cups. But we have an aha moment because the mother of cups now, as you know, a not daughter, now that she's got a few years under her belt. Oh wait, I should have did it this way. And look at that. Look at the commonality between the colors. One day she has realization. And the realization came through her taking a step back from everything that she thought about herself. The realization came when she had the bright idea that if nothing that she tried was going to work, and that if there wasn't someone who she could find to give her the answers that she was looking for, then she just stopped trying. Because why would she continue to waste that energy and to waste that effort? And so she stops trying. She lives for a while, not a while, but for a little bit without trying. And in her not trying to get these things to grow within her that never grew, she noticed that something began to stir under the soil. And at first she was perplexed. At first she's surprised because it's like, when I did everything I was supposed to do, I got no growth. Like, I watered it, I gave it sunlight, I bought new fertilizer. I've tried literally every fertilizer in the store. I've moved it to the sunniest spot, I've moved it to the shadiest spot. I've done everything I could. And when I leave it alone, then that's when it grows. And I think for a time, she kind of sort of decided to just like step away from everything, right? Because if she puts energy into anything and it stops it from growing, then, like, she's just like, Lemma, I'm gonna let the chips fall where they may. I know I'm gonna be all right. And I tried to put something into this, and when I put stuff into that, then that started to grow. And when she did that, she noticed some growth in the plants that never grew before. But at the same time, everything else in her life started to die. All of the other plants in the garden started to wither and they started to, you know, go away, go away. They started to die. And then she has this moment, right, where she's thinking to herself, okay, so if I try to take care of everything and these plants never grow, but these plants do, and then I just take my hands off of everything and those plants grow, but these plants don't, then like, are there like some weeds in here? Like, is there a weed? Is there a plant that I'm thinking is going to be this gorgeous, amazing, beautiful flower or uh, vine, fruit, grape thing? Or is like something in here a weed? Because it seems like maybe I should be doing all of the stuff that I used to be doing. And like maybe somehow like those plants are stealing the nutrients from the other plants and that's why they didn't grow. And so basically she's back in this hermit mode. I don't think she's breaking any cups anymore. I think she's learned her lesson and she's put the cups down, you know. She so 8 out of 10 cups are broken. So she can still have two good cups. And you know, two cups is a really good thing to have, right? And so she's not going in and she's not going to break any more cups. Hopefully, she's not breaking any more cups, you know, cuz if she breaks another cup, or two cups, then she's like out of cups to break. And then she's just going to walk around kind of sort of broken forever. Not forever, but you know, it's going to take a lot of healing to get those cups in, you know, operating condition, you know. You can survive with the 8 broken cups cuz then once you get to the two cups, then the other cups it triggers this regenerative capability and the metalworking of the cup. I don't know why these are. Let's. I don't know. They're gold. They're solid gold cups, right? Some self annealing metal cup thing. It heals itself. It repairs itself once you stop beating it up. um. Oh, 8 of cups and 8 of swords. Ooh. Ooh. So she realizes this. She knows that if she can't take her hands off of everything, and if she can't tend to everything, then she uses her intuitive connection to intuit the path that it is that she is supposed to take. And she realizes that no one else can tell her what these mysterious plants are that only grow when you stop caring for them. She realizes that no one can tell her how to grow these, right? And she is the mother of cups upright, the most intuitive outside of the high priestess, right? So she's pretty gosh darn connected. And so she goes out and she seeks 2 cups, 2 cups to complete her set of 10, and to then begin to reassemble the cups backwards. And so in her mind, it's like, if I can find 2 cups then like I'll be 20% ready instead of like zero because I got 8 cups and they're all smashed, right? And while I have these 2 cups, it will give me the strength to tend to the things that I need to tend to and to leave the things alone that need to be left alone. And so while I focus on these 2, I can just work on the other 8 in the background, right? And so eventually over time, she meets someone because that's how the story goes, I guess. That's how the stories always go. It seems like she meets another person, someone outside of herself she comes across, right? And she gets 2 cups. And these 2 cups are a lot better than the 8 shattered cups she has hiding behind this mountain that no one ever sees. Um, and so while she has these 2 cups, she's able to be in the moment and she's able to be free enough that she can tend to the things that she can tend to the plants that need tending to, and she can section off the plants that are a lot more independent. And so while she is fixing all these cups, she's she finds someone and they're together, right? She fixes the 3rd cup, she fixes the 4th cup, she fixes the 5th cup. She's like 50% there now. She went from 0% to 50%. It's looking like she might have a chance at passing this class. She fixes the 6th cup. She fixes the 7th cup. 70%. That's like, we're getting that C range. She fixes the 8th cup. She fixes the 9th cup. She fixes the 10th cup. And she has 10 cups, all fixed and purdy and ready for the show. But what she didn't realize is that as she was fixing all of the cups in the ways that she saw them broken, her relationship with this person was causing the other cups to crack and fracture in ways that she didn't even realize. And so she thought, and this is sitting under the moon upright. So yeah, she really thought that she was doing better. She thought she was making progress. She was seeing growth in areas that she's never seen in her life. She was feeling things for herself that she had never felt in her life. She was beginning to see herself as beautiful. She was beginning to see herself as part of the creation as a whole. And in her wonderment and her amazement, she didn't realize all of the ways that she was being broken down and torn down and chipped away at, seemingly unnoticingly. And so when she saw all of the plants in her garden as growing, she felt good, right? Because she since she was like a daughter of cups, her she had this section of the garden that just wouldn't grow. And now that she's a mother of cups and she's a little bit beyond a mother of cups, and not in that she's older, but just in that she's in some ways grown beyond just living with her trauma and just living with the fact that things wouldn't happen and these things just aren't going to grow. They're just never going to grow, right? And so she sees that everything in her garden is looking beautiful, right? the botanists and the florists and the herbalists that she used to go to. She's a little full of herself, a little bit, not full of herself, but she's just like, you know what? All of the advice that you gave me didn't help me grow those plants. I figured it out. I should be a doctor of plants. Give me your PhD. I know better. Nothing you told me was helpful. All the while not realizing that some of the plants in her garden were actually dying, were starting to decay, were starting to rot because she was so focused on the plants that had never grown before and how now it seems like everything is above ground, right? It's like those plants have sprouted and they're up. These plants have sprouted and they're up. Everything is above ground. There are no just little irritating patches of garden that are devoid of plant life. But she doesn't realize that a good portion of her garden is dying. And it's not just the portion that never grew. And it's not just the portion that always grew. And not only are they dying, it's like there are these as they die, as they decay, as they rot, they invite in organisms that will feed off of decaying plant life. And so not only is part of her garden dying without her realizing it, she's also inviting in these creatures that will come and eat of her dying parts as it happens, all the while thinking that everything is fine. And oh, wow, I didn't even see this. And so this bird who came into her life to help her, who was her, maybe her one and only, like her person, right? Like mother of cups, father of cups. Someone who also seemed to be very kind and caring and compassionate on the outside. Someone who, you know, poured into her, maybe in some kind of way, at least she thought. But in reality, it was something that was much darker and much more sinister. Look at that. The black swan ended up being this crow. Call, mother. Let me stop. Call. And then eventually one day she's like, oh, it was strange that you used to caw. I've never heard a swan that caws before. Oh, you're so silly. Oh, you're so funny. You're hilarious the way you caw. Okay, all right. So, ooh. So eventually there comes a point when the mother of cups has to look at this bird, right? And the mother of cups has to look at the state of the garden that she's become. And she has to look at the things that she got from this person, from this other bird, and the things that she had lost. And she had to make the decision. Is it worth it? Is this situation that I've wanted to be in for so long, that never happened, that I've dreamed of, is it worth giving up all of the comfort that I had? And so there was this balancing game with this Ten of Pentacles in reverse. it was a question that really, oh my gosh, that really had her up in her head. Because although she could by this point definitely tell that out of the 10 cups that she had upright, at least 5 of them have now been broken. And another 3 of them are on the verge of shattering because they're so just like fractured and cracked. And they're just like one shake away from just like, right? That's when all the cracks connect and the whole cup just like shatters and falls apart. And so when she thought she was at 100%, she realizes now she's at 50. And she's like, well, the 50% is still better than the 0% I used to have when all 8 cups were broken. And even if these 3 cups that are on the verge of shattering, even if they shatter, I'll still have 2 cups. And 20% is still better than 0%. So I'm going to take my chances. Um, and she does. But the thing that bothers her, because she knows that the 20% or the 50% that could be 20% depending on how things go, depending on the day, depending on the mood, depending on what happens, depending on if it's raining, depending on if it's too sunny, if it's too hot, if it's too cold, if someone's too tired, if they're too awake, too restless, you know, too much of everything, and nothing is ever right. Um, but even on the worst, in the worst cases, like 20% is still better than zero. But for the first time in her life, she got a taste of something more than zero. For the first time in her life, she had a taste of 100%. Regardless of if it was an accurate recreation of the flavorful masterpiece, magnifique, that is, Chef Louis' 5-star restaurant dish, even if it is I followed a YouTube tutorial based on a YouTube tutorial based on a YouTube tutorial based on someone who had this like one time and they tried to recreate it. Um, Even that is like, better than nothing. But the thing that is nagging at her is that this 20% pales in comparison to what she thought she felt. And she's never gotten that close with anyone else or with anything else. And so she makes the decision, 10 of cups in reverse. I know, right? We go from the 10 of pentacles in reverse to the 10 of cups in reverse. She makes the decision to pour more into the father who crows, who caws. Oof. She makes the decision to pour more into the father. And I don't like where this story is going. This is not a happy story. It ends well. It's supposed to. It's supposed to end very well. But we got 3 cards after the one I just pulled. So she decides to pour into the father because she realizes that she can't reach 10 whole cups with someone who will continuously throw cups all around the house, knock them off the table, knock them off the shelves, throw rocks at them, let the cat in, and just cat's just tossing cups all over the place, right? And you're like, well, you should really like, not allow your cat near the cups because your cat destroys my cups. And he's like, I've had that cat forever. That cat isn't going anywhere. And it's not that he needs to get rid of the cat, but let's keep the cups away from the cat so the cat can't just keep coming over and knocking over the cups. And he's like, the cat's gonna do what the cat wants to do, and even if we put him up, then the cat's still gonna find its way to the cups. And like, are those cups really that valuable or important anyway? Like, you can just get more cups, you can just get new cups, and you're like, right? And so you decide to pour into him because you realize that in order for you to get your 100, he's going to have to stop breaking them. And also, maybe like, oh, I can help him too because I'm such a caring and compassionate. I'm the mother of cups. I'm caring and compassion personified. She's a martyr. Oof. Excuse me. And so you pour into this one that cause, and for a while things seem to improve. The three cups that were on the verge of shattering are no longer shattering. So now you have like 8 cups, right? That are like good. And then a little bit more time passes and you're still at 100%. You're like, okay, I think this is working. I think things are turning around. And more time passes and you're still at 100%. And you were just like, wow, like, hey babe, like we really got through that really hard time. I'm so happy. And he was like, yeah, like me too. Thank you so much. And more time passes and you're still at 100%. And more time passes and you're still at 100%. And then one day you're just like standing in the moment, appreciating. I don't think I like where the story is going anymore. You're standing in the moment appreciating everything you have. You are looking at your life like that beautiful picture. And it was a rough road, and things still aren't perfect, but they're a lot better than they were when you were on the verge of only having like 2 cups intact. And it's much better than they were when you had no cups intact, when you were alone. And as you're standing there admiring the picture, something catches your eye. You've been at 100% this whole time. But what you didn't realize and what you didn't recognize with this Son of Wands in reverse is that you no longer have 10 cups. And what's worse, you don't even have 8 cups anymore. And you started with 8, right? You started with 8 cups. Now you have like 6. You have 6 cups. And they're all intact. They're all like pristine and wonderful and beautiful, right? Or they look that way. But you're like 40% down. Hold on, wait. Yes. You lost 4 out of 10. I don't know math. You lost 4 out of 10 cups. And you have 6 out of 6 cups that are upright, but you've lost 4. And you're going back through your mind and you don't know. Oh my gosh, I really don't like that. You don't know when it happened that these cups started going missing. You don't know who took them, but you can feel now that you've seen it, now that you've taken a step back and ironically enough, now that you took a step back to appreciate everything, you can kind of sort of begin to see where things just aren't lining up. And as you step back, you start to think of how you made the decision to, first of all, stay with this person after you realized that they were breaking your cups. And then, secondly, after you made the decision to try to help them fix their cups, and maybe you bought their cat a scratching post and some catnip and some cat toys and other things to do besides break your cups. It's like once you solved that issue, once you solved that problem, you thought that everything was good. Um, but now you have to reconcile the feeling of being fulfilled in some areas while also being stolen from at the same time. And in yourself, you have to evaluate, okay, do I appreciate the six cups that are perfectly fine? And do I just focus on those six? Or do I start looking for the four that just went missing? And if nothing else, do I start looking for the two that I had in the first place? Like the extra two that, came from wherever, I can get two more cups, that's fine. But the two that I already had, because I had eight and now I only have six, like what's going on? And so, this is the equivalent of, let's say some of, you had plants in your garden that were dying and that were decaying, and you had these animals, these insects, these pests that came in and ate the crop. And so while you were just oblivious to the fact that those things were dying and that they were being eaten, someone else came in and planted seeds in your garden, and their their seeds began to grow in your garden. And so you're just looking at the garden thinking, "Oh, how lovely. Everything is beautiful now that we've taken care of the dead plants," right? Not realizing that, that's someone else's seed in your garden. That's not your seed. Um, and at first, it wasn't supposed to be about putting seeds in the garden, but apparently, the swan that caused turned into this snake who just had a thing for gardens, snakes and plants. I don't know. But strangely enough, um let's say one day you sort of begin to look at the swan who caused as the potential cause for the case of the missing cubs. And so, after much deliberation within yourself of should I just let it go or should I continue to investigate, um, you decide to have a little conversation, right? And in the conversation, things don't add up. And then you start to your intuition starts to kick in, right? Because remember, she's very connected, and you start to see the lies between the lines, things that weren't being said, the way that the things that were being said, gaps in time that just don't make sense, little things that just over time add up, and surprise, surprise, the swan that caused has found, you know, another bird, three of cups in reverse. And You Oh, okay. So this story is going to a place that I don't. I'm just gonna keep telling the story. I feel like this is the worst story I've ever told. I feel like usually the stories end up like happy. This one not so much. Um. So you know. So this is you. I know you go from this lovely, gorgeous, amazing swan to this bird over here, and you're like, "Well, why did that happen?" Now this the swan who caused, I mean that's who that swan always was. So, the swan it remains unchanged. The way that you see the swan now is starting to change because your vision is less clouded than it was. And there's this other bird, right? This other bird that is like I'm not gonna go all the way there. But you have a stinking suspicion that one of the eight that you originally had, the swan that caused him to offer it to somebody else. And like he only came to you with 2 cups and he trying to go to somebody else with 3? After all you've done? Okay, I said I wasn't going there. I'm not going there. And so you give him an ultimatum, because certainly, with all of the time and energy and effort that you spent putting into, with all that you've poured into him, with all that you've been through together, of course, he's going to get it right. But that son of wands in reverse ends up becoming this father of wands in reverse. And so you give him an ultimatum and he leaves you and he takes one more cup with him on his way out. And at that moment, it's like a whole nother mountain just sprouts out of the ground. And you just like, and they all shatter. All 5 cups at once. The 5 that you had left. He took 3. He took 3 of your cups somewhere else. And the 5 cups you had left just shatter. And you don't know what to do. Right? And this is actually the last card. This is the last card. And it's the 5 of cups upright. So, and this is interesting because the third card that came out was the 4 of wands upright. So I was like, oh, this story is about to turn. What? It's like we're gonna get that happy ending, but that was the last card, and we didn't get that happy ending. So, but in your darkest moments, when you feel the 5 cups that weren't there, when you thought you had 10, and when you think back on the fact that at least you had 3 more cups, broken and shattered or not, at least you had 3 more cups before this person came into your life, before this other bird, it really puts you in this hermit in reverse where there are no more cups to break behind this mountain because all 5 of your remaining cups shattered the moment that this king of cups in reverse revealed himself to be a king of wands in reverse. That's like some Maleficent energy, like just straight up shape shifted from a swan into a snake and slithered off. Like where'd they do that at? Disney movies? I didn't know that that was real life. Let me stop. Um, I don't even know why I said Maleficent. Like I guess she's a dragon. Dragons are like snakes, I guess. Um, but in your darkest moment, in your darkest night, that are not yet there, you see these silhouettes. You see these apparitions, these specters of what these specters that hold the visage of a goblet. And then something beautiful happens. Yes! Yes! Ooh, okay, we're gonna continue the story. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Something beautiful happens when you look up after being through all of this. You see half of your garden is empty, right? And so for a while, you go on mourning the state of affairs, mourning that you would let someone like this into your life, mourning the fact that it felt so right and so good and so beautiful at one point, mourning the time and energy that you put into this other person, mourning the fact that everything you did just after all that time wasn't enough to do anything to keep this snake with you, right? And you then have to go back to all the botanists and all the florists, all the herbalists, all the people with the green thumbs, all of the admirers of plants, and you had to tell them how it ended up. You didn't have to tell them, but I mean, it was pretty apparent. And then, you know, you might get a few "I told you so's." As far as they saw that your plants were dying. They saw that they were being eaten away. They saw that you were actually losing land. You were losing your land to someone else, and someone else was planting in your garden. And once it was time for them to harvest, they harvested their crop from your land and took it somewhere else. And you go back and you talk to them, and nothing too harsh. You're met with love, hopefully. The mother is met with love. Let me stop saying you. The mother of cups. Mama Swan is met with love. And something strange happens one day. She notices that the plants in her garden that never grew, that even when they did grow with this one person, she noticed that they were now growing in a way that they had never grown before. And she also noticed that as those plants grew, they did something to the soil. They changed the very environment of the garden. And when there were 8 cups in the garden, it was 3 cups too many, because these plants, they need room to grow. They need space. And so when this person, when the swan who caused came in to her life, she saw them grow in a way because the land had expanded, right? Because he came with some land and they put their plots of land together, even though, his plot of land ended up creeping into her plot and he took some of her land and ran off, slithered away. I've never seen a swan slither before. um, but as parts of the garden were emptied, these plants had room to grow. And that growth, the growth of these plants and the way that they changed the soil, changed the plot, it changed the whole garden, right? With the world card upright. That's why I was so excited. I was like, the world upright. Okay, nice. So we might still get to that for once. This is going to be the last row. I'm putting it on top. Oh, okay. Well, we can work with this. And so, Son of Swords in reverse. Excuse me. And so, after she discovered that these plants change the very foundation that everything else grew out of, she was able to go back. Okay, we're going back in time again. We're going back in time, which is nice because that's exactly where. See, this is where I thought the story was going, where I started. I did not see all the nasty stuff that happened in between. Like all of that shook me. But this is where I felt it going. Um, and so she goes back. And knowing what she knows now about these plants, she looks at herself with a new set of eyes, right? So instead of that daughter of Swan, I'm not going to pull the card up because it's too deep. I'm sorry. But instead of that daughter of Cups, she goes back as this son of Swords. And so instead of this emotionally enraptured bird, she goes back as this bird with a very, very, very keen eye who is ready to cut and excise anything that doesn't belong. Well, I'm getting hungry. It's too late to eat. And she goes back with this new knowledge, with this new awareness. And she specifically goes back to the time when she left everything alone and how those plants grew, but how other plants didn't. And she goes back and she's thinking, well, if these plants require more space, if these plants require more resources, then it would make sense that they grew as I neglected everything. Because when I neglected everything, the other plants stopped growing. And since they stopped growing, these plants that need more space were able to grow, right? And also, where did these seeds come from? Because I don't recall getting them. And they're so weird that I would get these seeds in this garden, in my little plot of land where I need everything to grow. Why would I be given these seeds that require more land than I have? Right. And I feel like she sort of reaches this point partially because of the swan who calls with the two of cups in reverse. She reaches this point partially because of the crow who calls and the expanse that he brought her, and partially because she's a smart cookie. Like, the mother of cups is very intuitive and very loving, right? But when it comes to healthy boundaries, she may not necessarily always be the best. And so that's why she's not a mother of swords. A, because she isn't proficient enough yet, but B, because she is more heart than she is logic. But now, because of the situation, and now because of going back, and now because of everything that is starting to happen, that only she would know within herself by going back and by looking at things and by appreciating, reaching the spot and the point to appreciate the heartbreak that she went through. She learns to she learns to love the swan who caused, but not in a way that like she's gonna go back to him or she's gonna let him back into her life, but in a way to appreciate the role that he played in her life. And she learns to love him in a way that can see in him why he did what he did to her. And when she steps outside of her pain enough, she can realize that her pain had attracted this slithering swan into her life. And it had attracted him because that's what it does. Because it's just like, from that hurt place, she's going to attract people to hurt her, but also to wake her up and to get her to realize some things, right? With that Two of Cups in reverse. Um, and it's because of that she can then learn to appreciate herself more fully. I lost a little bit, so if I started a thought but didn't complete it, fill in the blanks. Because this is a story, right? Not every single day of either person's life is going to be detailed, and not every single insight is going to be given either. Because the takeaway from the story is to get you to walk away from the story and to reflect and see, maybe the moral of the story will resonate, maybe something in the story will resonate, and then you can go look deeper into what it is that you need to look into, right? Because it's one story for the whole world. But she, in some ways, realizes with this Nine of Cups in reverse that in some odd way, she was kind of hoping and wishing for this. I'm going to look at the last two cards because I need this to this isn't giving me what I want, but I know what the last two cards are now. So I'm going to make the story fit how it needs to go because I know where I need to end this. Oh, wait, it actually does. Okay. So she realizes in some way that this is what she wished for. Because ever since the mother of swans, ever since the mother of cups was the daughter of cups, she had always wondered why it was that these plants just didn't grow. She had always wondered why, no matter how enriching and fulfilling her experiences, there was always this thing within her that just never felt seen, appreciated, or exposed. And it's weird to be disturbed that a part of you isn't exposed. But when that part of you isn't exposed, it's incapable of receiving any kind of love or affection like the other parts of you. And so you get this partial acceptance where it creates these questions of, would I be accepted if this, and would I be accepted if that? Would someone be able to love these parts of me that I don't even know about, that I dare not love because they are too whatever? We shove them to the back of the mountain. Excuse me. And so it's like over time she was just shoving more and more and more cups behind the mountain, and that's how she got 8 cups behind the mountain that were all broken, right? But she realizes in some way that she asked for this because she asked the question, why won't these plants grow? Why won't these plants grow? Why won't these plants grow? She got a hard answer. it's a, it's an answer that it's a situation that needed to be experienced. There was a pain with this 10 of swords in reverse. It was this pain that needed to be gone through. And it's not necessarily for her to go back and to open up all of these wounds and make them fresh and experience this pain all over again with the 10 of swords upright, right? It's for her to sort of see through the swords to the truth, to the answer, because swords are always about clarity. And maybe she reaches that point where she's like, man, if I would have known that it was going to be that painful, I wouldn't have wished for it. I'd rather be ignorant. It's like, no, 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 no. But with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and I'm just going to end the story here. Um, she realizes that through this course of events, that the seeds that she were given that didn't grow were a gift. They were a gift that no one could tell her how to use, that no one could tell her how to grow, that no amount of information from the outside would help her. It was a mystery that no amount of information from the outside would help her solve. And she also realized, with that 10 of swords in reverse, she realized a lot of things. I'm going to give you a few of the swords. The other swords, you got to discover on your own, I guess. I don't know. Take it as it resonates. Um, but she realized that the extra seeds were a gift. We already said she realized that they needed more room to grow. She realized that no one from the outside could help teach her how to care for those plants, because these are plants that are these are species that aren't cataloged. Ooh, extraterrestrial. The word extraterrestrial popped into my head, and then the song by Katy Perry started playing. So, um, and ultimately, at the end of the day, she's destined for expansion because that's the only way that these seeds will grow. And she wasn't given these seeds in order to allow other things in her garden to die, but it's to realize the conditions that they need to grow and to then rearrange her plot accordingly, right? There's going to be some expansion that's needed, of course. Like, we already know that when she had 8 cups, they couldn't grow. And so, also another thing is, like I said, these the plants that grow, right? Once they begin to actually grow in a healthy way, they change the very soil, they change the very foundation, they change everything. And so that's what this Wheel of Fortune in reverse is, right? Because upright, we have the owl upright, and we got the moon. She ain't no owl. She's still a swine. She ain't trying to be an owl because she's not meant to be an owl, but she needs to be owl enough to get those healthy boundaries again and to, introduce a little wisdom and not just, cups. Let's get her a little bit of air. Um, but with this Wheel of Fortune in reverse, she's heading into this solar cycle, right? And so the way that she tends for the plants that she has also changes because the plants that didn't grow changed the soil. They changed the whole game. Things grow better, things grow bigger, things just like shoot out of the ground once they have, ample room. But because they grow so quickly, they require more care and attention, right? Because if you're watering it like you used to, it's not going to have enough to support its growth. And so you got to do more. You're going to have to do more. So then you may be thinking, well, like, if I have to work, if it grows twice as fast and I have to work twice as hard to keep up, then is there a benefit? The answer is yes, because now your whole garden is growing and not, just the parts that look pretty. The parts that actually matter are growing as well. And it is with this healthy cycle that she's coming into that she attracts the bird into her life that she can really nest with, right? Because this is in reverse. And so I feel like the other bird that she meets may be a little bit more analytical, right? Because she's the queen of cups, swan, and this is like, I'm gonna say it's a king, for simplicity's sake. If it's a queen, make it fit how it fits. Um, but when she shifts into the solar cycle, she's gonna attract this bird that she can nest with, right? And this whole wheel is just the nest, right? And I think this is in reverse because like she doesn't have to go hunting for this bird. It's like the bird comes. And it's so weird because it's like she's building a nest already. She's expanding her garden, right? And as she's expanding her garden, she's like fencing it off. And as she's building the fence, it's like she goes to this hardware store to get some lumber and some nails and a hammer. I don't know how fences are made. And she sees somebody and he's like, oh, like, okay, it kind of, this is how the story is playing out in my head, okay? It kind of creeps her out a little, not creeps her out, but she's just like, in the beginning, but she's in the hardware store. She's getting her hammer, her nails, she's getting the lumber, she's asking questions about, what kind of wood is good for a fence. Like, you probably don't want to get balsa wood because balsa wood is like pliable AF and like you want something that's going to be sturdy. I know that much about wood. uh, and someone in the store is like, oh, are you building a fence? And she's like, uh, yes. Like, way to eavesdrop on my conversation, dude. Like, who are you? Where'd you come from? And he's like, oh, well, I just so happen to be a carpenter because carpenters build fences now. Or maybe they've always built fences. Carpenters work with wood, right? And she's like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, again, this is how the story is unfolding in my head. He's like, oh, well, where do you stay? And she's like, not really wanting to tell this dude where she lives. But she's like, oh, I stay in the area of 52 and Second, I don't know, Cherry Lane, Boulevard Drive Avenue. And he's like, oh, I'm at like 52 and Fourth. And she's like, really? And he's like, yeah. And then she's like, oh, wait, do you stay in that house with that like gorgeous fence? And he's like, yeah. He's like, that's my baby. I built her. And she's like, oh, you built that? And he's like, yeah, like I'm a carpenter. Like I just said that. I work with wood, you know. And she's like, oh, well. And then there's silence. And he's like, I can come take a look at your like plot if you want. And she's like, really? Because she didn't want to ask him to come and look, right? Especially since she was kind of sort of like, it's not that she was acting stank, but she was, rightfully concerned that this individual was eavesdropping on her conversation and was so interested. Um, but he could tell that she wanted to ask and she wasn't going to do it. And then she was grateful that he asked because she wasn't going to do it. And, oh my gosh, we're talking about building a fence, right? And then here we go, this Four of Wands. Like, look at that. Four sticks. And they're kind of sort of making that enclosure, right? Like, that's the plot. We're going to be joining lands. Spoiler alert. um, hmm, what's behind this? Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's interesting. Hmm. And so long story less long. Um, he ends up helping her out with the fence. He sees these plants in her garden. And he's like, "Oh, those are really interesting. Like, how did you get those to grow?" And then she's like, "Oh, well, it's this really long and entertaining story about this slithering swan and how I always had these seeds, but I'd never gotten them to grow and I didn't know." And he was like, "Oh my gosh, like same, like minus the slithering swan. But I also had these seeds for a while that I just couldn't really get to grow and no one else really knew how to like get them to grow." And she was like, "Oh my gosh, I see where this story is going now." And she was like, "Oh, well, like this is what I found out." And he's like, "Whoa, so like that's why they didn't grow? No wonder why no one could help me." And she's like, "Yeah, it's like they're strange, right? They're weird." And then, let's make this story even less long. Time passes. They're actually really good for each other. They complement each other in beautiful ways. And they decide to join their plots of land. And I'm going to pull three from the middle of the deck to see what happens. Ooh, first one is Ace of Pentacles in reverse. I don't necessarily care that it's reversed. Second is the Mother of Pentacles in reverse. And third is, ooh, the Daughter of Swords upright. Okay, so, excuse me. Long story less long. They end up joining lands. You have these beautiful family building energies, right? Ace of Pentacles, Mother of Pentacles in reverse. I'm going to say that these are in reverse just because this is a departure from what she was originally thinking, right? She kind of sort of goes from the Mother of Cups into this Mother of Pentacles. And then she still retains this Daughter of Swords energy, right? So she can be a little less harsh than the Son of Swords that she needed. Like she needed to be in that Son of Swords energy to really go back and to piece together exactly what was going on, right? But in this Daughter of Swords energy, she can be more vulnerable and more open while still maintaining those like boundaries, those healthy boundaries. Um, and since she shifted from this Cups energy and she's coming a little bit more. Also, I think these are in reverse because it's like it's this energy that she's coming into, but it doesn't override who she is. And so at the end of the day, she's still the Mother of Cups, but she's coming into this earthen functionality where she can be more stable emotionally and physically. Um, she can be more caring and nurturing in a way that is tangible instead of just like emotionally. She can provide in more ways than she could before. Mother and the Ace of Pentacles, maybe there's a family and she never thought she'd have a family, and like boom, now there's the potential for this family. Crazy, right? There's lots of pentacles over here. There's lots of whatever that mess was over there. um but yeah, That's the story. I guess the moral of the story would be that the things that, sort of make you different are a gift, and that no one could really tell you how to grow them. That whole thing, it's a self-illuminated process that you sort of go through, and um, only you can really say for sure how to sort of do that and go about that. But once you get to the space that you need to be in, is when you're going to attract someone who can help you out. Or not who can help you out, but someone who's actually good for you. Someone that's not going to be like, you're not going to go to bed with a swan and then wake up with a snake. um, I kind of want to flip these upright, but I don't want to. Ooh, Five of Cups and the Mother of Swords out the cut. Boom. Did y'all hear my elbow pop? So yeah, and like another thing was like she was working on expanding her land, right? When she just so happened to go into this hardware store, and she just so happened to meet this guy with a beautiful fence, like gorgeous. And she was honestly going to be satisfied with just like, two pieces of plywood, like strung together with a string. Just, to mark the land off, right? You put a piece of plywood at each corner and you just wrap them up with a string and you just do whatever. But now she got like a whole fence, she got like a whole house, she got a whole man, a whole family. Like what? She got it all. She's just like, wow, I'm the luckiest gal in the world. Ooh, Nine of Pentacles in reverse and the Chariot upright. But it all starts with you accepting fully yourself for who you are within yourself, completely outside of someone else, accepting that within you, right? And I think that's why that Nine of Pentacles is in reverse, because that level of self acceptance and self love can't be based and grounded on what someone else thinks about you and what someone else makes you feel. Because if you're depending on someone else, it's not it's not solid. And that's depending on someone else and a means to get you to see the beauty that you are, right? I mean, she was a daughter of Cups in reverse for a long time. Seven of Swords just slid out. Bottom of the deck is the Son of Pentacles in reverse, with the Fool in reverse behind him. Oops. And the Star behind the Fool in reverse. Devil in reverse. Hangman in reverse. Ace of Wands in reverse. Father of Swords in reverse. Chariot in reverse. Judgment upright. The Sun in reverse. Okay. I was just looking at majors and core cards. So it's the Sun in reverse, Judgment upright, Chariot in reverse, Father of Swords in reverse, Ace of Wands in reverse, Hangman in reverse, Devil in reverse, Star upright, the Fool, and then the Son of Pentacles in reverse. That's a lot of stuff in reverse. She got a gate too. Exactly. Oh, there you are. Wow, what a story. You loved it. Thank you. I was really, really concerned for a while because I don't like leaving it on a not great note. And it went darker, longer than I thought it would. And as soon as that Daughter of Cups came out in reverse, I was like, oh man, I do not want to get into the childhood. I don't want to do it. So I thought I avoided that. But then the whole story just came in. Yep. The Garden and the Gate. What's that? That's in the Energy Oracle. So I'm going to pull a few Energy Oracle cards. I'm going to pull 3 Energy Oracle cards because the Garden and the Gate is a card in the Energy Oracle deck. And I want to pull them, so I will. But yeah, so in the beginning, I had a feeling that like the seeds that she got were like gifts from Spirit, right? And that's why she didn't know how they were going to grow. It's like no matter what she did, they never grew. When she got advice from other people, it never worked. Or it's not that it didn't work, but they were gifts from the spirit, and so they were going to require. I guess I should have known that there was going to be a dark time because Dark Night, Awakening, and all that jazz. Um, but yeah, all of that stuff in between, I was like, oh. And when I saw the Three of Pentacles in reverse, at first I thought that it was going to be that kind of story. But then when it didn't look like it was that kind of story, I was just like, oh, the plants aren't growing. Okay. But then the whole Three of Pentacles in reverse happened when she started building with somebody that it didn't end up working out with. I'm like, okay, well, Okay. I'm going to pull top, middle, and bottom. So the top was the thinking man. No. The top is the temple path in reverse. The middle is seventh chakra archangel Uriel. And then the bottom is contract in reverse. So temple path in reverse, archangel Uriel upright, and then contract in reverse. I feel like this is pretty much the story, right? With the temple path in reverse, I feel like, there were times when she thought that she had lost her way. Oh, the woman holding a coin is at the bottom of the deck. And she was confused, right? She went through her dark period for a little bit, but she was like, why is everything trash, right? If this don't work, then I'm going to just give up on everything. With Archangel Uriel upright, it's like, that's the element that everything that needed her own special touch to learn her own lessons, like no one can learn your lessons for you. Exactly. There we go. And then it was all destined, it was all purposed. And with what was the last? I already forgot what the last card was. With contract in reverse, that could be a contract that we have that's not so great, like a karmic thing. And I feel like that's another reason why another way that we can find love and appreciation for some of the people that bring difficulty and strife into our lives, right? It's the awareness that you came into my life for a reason. You came into my life to teach me something, and I'm grateful for the lesson. I wish it wasn't such a I wish it wasn't such a tough lesson, but at the end of the day, I learned what I needed to. So thank you, question mark. All right, well, that's what I got. It's been like 2 hours. I think I can go to bed now. It is sufficiently late. Goodness. And yeah, I don't know where else that story would have went. So hope you have a great night, Clorinda. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it. Even though I wasn't extremely active or engaging. Dinner time. Ooh, lasagna. I kind of want some lasagna now. Well, I'm pretty sure it's going to be yummy. Sweet dreams. Oh, thank you. It's so weird that it's like, almost 3 in the morning here and you're about to eat dinner. It's not weird. That's just how time works. Oops. All right. Well, yes. So enjoy your dinner. Have a lovely evening. Sweet dreams to you when you get that. Wait, oh, homemade. Oh, mama style. Yes. Yes, it's going to be so good. Do we have anything in there? No, it's 3 o'clock. I need to just go to bed anyway. All right. I will talk to you later. Excuse me. Have a great time.